POV of an eagle as it pushes into this small circular city, Old Ward. And along Old Ward, there is multiple different districts. You have the Wine Lodge district, which is where a lot of the meaderies and people who sleep on the streets are. And then you have the North district, is where most people who are very high end live, and the people who are lords in this town. Far beyond that, you have the farmlands, which is where all the people outside of the fortified city of Old Ward live. And we center in on this plaza in the middle of Old Ward, and there is a festival going on. And we come to a couple of people sitting around a table. One of them, a short, more scaly creature who is slightly hooded and is keeping to himself.
Usually, Dragonborns are above 7 feet tall. My character, Sky, I have bronze skin, but I'm right above 5 feet tall, and you can hardly see my face. Just have a super large cloak on.
You're sitting there for a while, and across the table from you, you notice a man who seems to almost be sitting upright while asleep. Passing him,
Albus's physique is like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Conan. He is tall, really broad, super buff. He's got huge unkept beard. He's got this big mane of hair that's tied back with some leather loosely. And then his body is covered in war paint, like white and black, and symbols like etched around his arms and stuff. And he's shirtless, and he has strapped to his back a large battle axe. And when I mean large, it has reach in game mechanics. So it's like as long as a spear. It is a long, huge two-handed axe. And he carries himself very sure of himself, but not necessarily arrogantly. That comfortable badass.
and as you're passing the sleeping man, you are also passing the bar at this time, in this little outdoor bar. You see a little gnome character pop up with one big arm and go, "Hey, Albus, how's it been? It's me, Crotchety. How's it going?"
Crotchety, how are you, my friend?
Not too bad. How's the festival going? You enjoying the Festival of Shadows and Flowers?
Yes, I don't fully understand these customs, but I do like the drinking part.
Get 1 second. You see he goes down, you hear some change rattle, and he pulls out a small little jar and hands it out to him and goes, "Here, on the house, for the festival, for the love. Here you go."
And Albus takes it, and then he treats every beverage like it's a shot, and he just downs the entire. He does not understand that some people sip beverages. This is to be consumed. I shall consume it all. And he slams it down and puts it. Roll Constitution. It's a mixed result.
Feel yourself start, like your muscles loosen, and you feel like your traps start to just raise, as if you had just worked out for hours, and all of a sudden you start to feel lightly lighter. Like, walk away from that and you bump into...
You're walking down a dirty street by this festival, and you come across a slim man covered in dust and dirt, his hair long, matted, and dreaded. He's on his knees in the middle of the hustle and bustle. He has a wooden bowl with a little notch cut out of it, and he is lying on the ground and is holding the bowl above his head, sitting there face down in the dirt in the middle of the road.
Are we doing this again, son? Every settlement. I know people think I look scary. You make people uncomfortable.
Somebody comes by and drops a loaf of bread into my bowl, and I get one ration.
Bless you, honey. You see a bunch of lights approaching from all of the different alleyways that are conversing into this one big quad area where the festival is happening. You looking up and you see all these lights dangling. There are arcane illuminated black light shadows that kind of give off that glow. There are flowers hanging from ropes leading to this central tree in the middle of Old Ward, which is a giant red tree, thick, great age. And you kind of get the idea that it's been here for many, many years past the town and the city itself. Coming in with all the people of the torches, and behind them, you see them carrying statues of skeletal creatures all built together to make little just like little things to burn, whatever they're called. I forget the name. They're bringing them in. They have torches, but so they're bringing them in and they're setting them all down around the tree. And you see as this very big, large, elegant, well-dressed, gold on every seam of clothing you can see from where you're at. You see this character walk up to the middle, and there's this little stand, and he takes his hand to his neck, and his voice automatically gets way louder. The good people of Old Ward, we come together in harmony on this night to remember those who died protecting, building the walls, and cementing it with their own blood. We bring these effigies in honor of the monsters they killed that once lived beneath this great city. Now, let us raise a drink to them. A woman next to Sky begins to cry. They all yell, "Hear, hear," and you hear as a loud boom comes out from drums behind the tree as they move out and start to burn the effigies. And the beginning of the Shadow Blossom ritual has begun.
So my character's name is Ra Lean. I am a bard. I have a fiddle. And I'm a human, not very tall, but I play a mean fiddle, guys. Don't worry about me. And I'll heal you the fuck up.
So you see as Ra coming in behind the drummers, playing his fiddle. You're playing right in with the rhythm of the drums. And you see now as the man who is standing up there speaking, some of you who have been here long enough know as the king, he starts to step down, and you see his advisor next to him, who is a smaller, almost greenish skinned man with a long wooden staff that has a little bonsai tree with pink flowers growing out the top of it. Lord Galeth is stepping down, and his advisor is leaning in next to him and saying something and pointing in the direction of the man sitting in front of Sky at one of the tables near the booths. They start to move away and take a table close to the tree, and gonna need another constitution check. You don't know what you drank. You didn't ask. You just shot it down. You're that kind of guy.
He would not ask. No, I got a 10.
Okay, so you start to realize what it is that you may have drank.
I'm a ranger. My companion is a wolf. I'm hooded, but I'm bald. My cheekbones are like so sharp and so like defined that they could like almost be a blade themselves. Mm-hmm. My feet are completely covered in mud, but they're not muddy. As I walk, you can see that I am careful in how I move and how I traverse. I would say I'm more of like an average 5'8", and then more on the slender side. Not super beefy, but not super skinny, just like, kind of average. But as I walk, you can tell there's kind of a power with. So at this festival, it's like, I'm partaking, but I'm more of just like sitting on the back, smoking on a pipe, just kind of enjoying myself, watching everybody else having their fun.
Balin, as you're sitting there, leaned over, hand on pipe, other hand scratching your wolf, you're surveying all of this happening, and I would like for you to make a discern reality roll.
Natural 12.
You're watching all this happen. You look over, you see this short, scaly hooded creature and someone sitting next to them. You notice this sigil on the back of their neck, and it starts to glow red. And then you see multiple other people within the crowd, sigils on different parts of their hands, roughly about 8 of them, with a red sigil starting to glow on their neck. From your deep elf knowledge, you've seen some arcane things in your life, and you know those red glowing runes are nothing but bad.
And I just see people start taking them out.
You see people starting to move towards the inner parts of this quad area where the Lord Valoreth is sitting, the young princess, her 2 sons.
So as I see this, I kind of whistle. I'm just going to call my dog Fenrir. By whistling at it, it understands that it needs to go to the far side of where these people are gathering, and I'm going to go to the other side. And when I get there, I'm not going to move at all.
Yeah, crazy festival. I'm high as fuck. What happens next? Our next glow? Let's go. Let's hook it up. Give me one of them glow sticks.
Balin has just noticed that multiple people within the crowd, especially the guy who was sitting in front of Sky, who he thought was asleep, now have red sigils glowing on different parts of their body. And they are all moving in towards the Lord's king and his daughter and 2 grandsons.
As I feel something weird in the mystical energies of the world going on, I'm going to peek up beneath my hair and see these symbols start to glow, and I'm going to spout lore about them. 11.
Due to your many travels, you understand that these symbols are the symbols of a cultist group responsible for working with a dark shadow, and that's all he's ever been expressed as, of a person. And their only thing that they're trying to do is take out all kings, lords, and queens because they want hierarchy to die, essentially, and they want to rule under fear. But what you can tell by these are grunts. These are people who have just been signed by the actual leaders of the cultists.
Feeling something's up, I'm gonna put my bowl away and I'm gonna stand up straight and tall, and I will discern realities about what happens next. 4.
As you stand up and shuffle your bowl to your robes, you drop the bread, which is now dirty. You have lost 2 of the people in the crowd that you saw with symbols. You can't find them anymore. And then go ahead and mark experience.
One of my things as a bard is that I can about lore in my performance. So maybe I start singing about what's happening to the crowd because I chose the spells and magic lore. So
Okay.
like if their heads are lighting up, maybe I can say something about that and like just start singing about it.
What'd you roll?
A 9.
All right. So as you're fiddling away, so you see as King Geralt is enjoying himself, tapping along and clapping to the music, and his hand, or his advisor, he leans over to him. He's, my lord, I think the bard is trying to say something. Possibly, maybe we should listen.
So my character is like pretty young for a Dragonborn, so I feel like I probably just still wouldn't notice anything, honestly. I might get a little bit worried, but I don't know if I have any knowledge that could really help in this situation.
And
I guess
see
I'll
if you-
do a discern reality check. I look over at the person to my right. I want to look at the person's face and I want to see if they seem possessed by anything, or does the person look angry? What are the vibes that this person's giving
Yeah,
off?
so you see as this guy now is starting to stand up from what seemed like a deep doused sleep, and you catch a quick glance of his eyes, and you can tell that there's nothing going on inside.
I stand up and start to walk away. Facing him, I start to take a few steps backwards.
As you're moving backwards, you bump into another one of these cultists, and you can now plainly see, it's very apparent in the crowd that all of them are moving towards, and there are some now actually at the cusps of the tables surrounding the tree. You can see that they have something in their hands.
Seeing all this crazy stuff, I'm just going to try and get a better vantage point. I
Okay.
have acrobat, so I can pull off gravity-defying stunts and jump much farther and much higher than a normal person. I'm gonna backflip top of a 1-story building.
What? Like Olympians can't even do that, dude.
But I can because I rolled a 14.
Can I roll to
And I'll
see if
say-
I notice that? Yeah, that's a 9.
So I rolled a 10 plus, so I get to choose. So I make no sound and leave no trace,
Okay.
and I move with near superhuman speed and grace.
Did I notice that he was there before and then he wasn't? Like I looked away and then he was gone. But I'm still killing it on the fiddle. Yeah, I don't even care about the king. I care more about the performance.
Right before I disappear, I whisper into Albus's ear, "All one can do is the next right thing."
There
And
you go,
you-
trying to spread some ancient wisdom. And I turn around and he's gone. And I just shrug.
What I want to do is that I want to get to one guy and just try to make him fall asleep and choke hold him. Like, I'm not trying to hurt the guy.
Roll for me.
10.
You successfully grapple him, have him locked up. You got him. He's not going anywhere. Sky, the cultist you bump into quickly goes from numb to very angry and shoves a very rugged, dark blade curved almost like a karambit knife, and he shoves it right into your chest for 10 damage.
I can use healing on myself. So
Okay.
I start running away from him and attempting to cast my healing on myself, which is a 1d8. Got a 7.
So you can either spend one soul, the spell
Oh, I
has
see.
other effects as well. You may not cast the spell again until after next turn.
I start with 2 souls, so I might as well use one right now. This is a pretty bad situation for me. I spend 1 soul
Okay.
to cast this healing on myself. Then the spell has other effects as well.
I'm going to say you're able to cast it, so go ahead and roll your D8 to heal.
Cool, I got a 6.
I'll say that this character also heals too.
So is it obvious now that shit is getting weird?
Yes. You look around and you see
Honest
the
is-
band stop playing. Everyone starts scrambling that's not sitting down. You can see Sky off to your right. He's definitely hurt and being attacked.
Like if I see Sky get stabbed and then like run away and he's like bloodied and trying to cast magic on himself, I would
Yeah.
intervene with that. Unnecessary violence on assumably unarmed people would trigger his righteous bullshit. So I'll step in between Sky and this gentleman and say, I don't know what your disagreement is, buddy, but you better cool it. This is a festival. And I look at the guy who stabbed. I'm rolling charisma right now. I don't really think he clicks that it's some evil thing is happening. I think he thinks
Okay.
just some people are being assholes. So he's just trying to be like, hey, knock
Right.
it off. He's not
sure.
very good at this.
Roll charisma
He
from
got a
within.
5.
So go ahead, mark experience. As you run up and say that to him, he neck twitches and he readies his knife to be able to get an attack on you.
Not with my blood already on it. It's disgusting.
He hits you with 7 points of damage.
Do I see this going on from the stage? Do I know these people, or am I just at the festival?
You definitely know Albus. You definitely know Song. He's someone who's in town all the time.
So it's a small town.
I think Albus and Song are probably travelers, and we probably roll through here every once in a while.
I would say Sky and Balin, you also know each other from your travels amongst the magical forests and dungeon diving that you've done.
I am going to use my arcane art and weave a basic spell into my performance. So I'm going to roll. So that's an 11. I heal him +8. It's 2 +8s.
So you're healing Sky for 2 + 8s.
I got a 4.
I gotta do mine. I gotta choke this guy out. My wolf is also attacking him as well. So as part of that, I get to add its ferocity to my damage if I hit 13. Damage is 3. I'm trying to choke him out. Dog is on his foot.
Fenrir comes up and just starts biting at his shin, ripping at him. And you can tell that it's obviously bothering him, but he's not screaming the way a normal human should.
From the shadows, you would see, nobody sees. Sung pulls out a short bow that is hand carved from the wood of a maple tree, and it has a lot of very ornate decorations from the discipline that he's learned from at the monasteries. And he points his bow at their assailant, and from the shadows, he's just snipe them. 12. Being a monk, I get to use stances, which add tags to my attack. And since we've got advanced moves, I get 2. It's going to be +1 damage and +2 piercing. So if he's got armor, so 8 on the D8. So that's 9 damage, 2 piercing.
Albus and Sky, as a bolt made of mythic black shadow, flies out of nowhere and just hits him straight in the chest. You can see it definitely knocks his senses and staggers him, and he seems very hurt. Seems very, very hurt.
I'm going to bring out my scythe, summon it in my hands, and go for the execution on this guy. I go for his neck, run up on him, and I swing on him as hard as I can. 9 on there, +3.
You see as this
Execution.
image Dragonborn out of nowhere summons this massive two-handed, very bent with a massive scythe, comes out and just cleaves this guy in half from hip to shoulder. And as that happens, you see a little bit of red particle dust come from the scar and then just burst. Slides off, and he is dead. The other guys' turns, who are not being either held down by Balin right now, that were around the table, you see as they start to get closer, and one of them grabs the king by the back of his cloak and puts a knife to his neck and starts backing him away from the table. As 2 more approach, and one of them is going to take a swing at the grandson standing up with a sword, and then the other is going to take a swing at his assistant. Prince is very hurt looking, and he's
How
good.
old is the prince?
Around 12.
So Albus stops looking at his big muscles for a second, notices the weirdness in this dude's death, and then looks over and sees the terror in a child's face and loses his fucking mind and goes full berserker rage mode. And he tunnel visions in on the guy attacking the grandson, and he pulls out his massive axe from his back and swings it down at this person in the attempt to cleave into him.
Most of the people have cleared out at this point. You're just barreling through tables.
I gotta roll to get the rage first. I got an 11. On an 11, I get rage points 3, and I don't get any drawback. I'm going to spend a rage on this attack to add the stun tag. If I hit him, he gets stunned. So my attack roll is a 10, and I did 8 damage, and he's stunned as I fall my axe into his back.
You swing into his back and you pin him into the ground. He's not very strong, and you, having muscles the size of his torso, throw him into the dirt, and he is flat out on the ground, starting to bleed out, and you see more of the red flowing from the scar.
And I look at the child, and my eyes are full of anger. But I look at the child, and I go, run!
And you see as the young Prince Mathra clenches his little sword and goes, "Ah!" and he runs off with his younger brother grabbing his mother.
I see Albus go into berserker mode and I try to assist. So I'm going to give him a little boost. So I'll play a little song about killing. I got an 8. So it says on a 7 to 8, the spell still works, but I draw unwanted attention or my magic reverberates to other targets affecting them as well.
You see a few of the guys with symbols. There's 2 of them that start to turn away after now some of the royal family has fled that table and they have their eyes fixed on you and they're pretty fucking pissed off. And you're now noticing one of them is definitely a little different than the rest.
Well, I'm just going to continue hitting the guy that I have right here. Natural 12. D8 here,
Yep.
+1. That's an 8 total right there.
You can feel his arm starting to go limp. The black dagger that he had in his hand slips out, and you can just hear him starting to go, no longer getting any oxygen to his lungs.
I'm going to sprint over, jumping from rooftop to where Albus
You're trying to get to the king.
10.
With ease, you hop from little flower pole to flower pole and land gracefully on the table in front of the king. So you land perfectly behind the assailant. No one notices you.
Oh, can I go on the assailant's back?
Make an attack. Flurry of blows.
Another 10. I'm gonna take stun and forceful. I'm gonna stun him, and then with my last furious blow, I just go Hi-ya! And I knock him away.
Roll me that damage.
3.
You stop all this guy's vital arms from working, and he's now stunned and unable to attack or grapple anymore. And then with one final palm push, you flip him over the king on his back onto the table.
I'm going to use Spook, which means I get to choose a target I can see and a nearby object. The target is afraid of the object as long as I maintain the spell. Their reaction is up to them: flee, panic, beg, or fight. But I use it on this guy attacking from far away. I use this spell and make it so this guy's afraid of the necklace.
Go ahead and give me a wisdom roll for the spell.
I got a 9.
You see as the cultist, this numb, tomed creature, stabs him and then all of a sudden realizes the necklace, and almost as if he was a werewolf scared of silver or a vampire scared of garlic, he drops him and freaks out and starts to flee.
So he's fleeing. And then what's happening with the king?
King is currently being grappled and pulled away at this point. He's now a couple feet away from the picnic table being drugged by one of the tomed creatures.
That guy is my next target. The guy putting his hands on the king with my big ass axe. This guy, instead of straight up attacking him, I'm going to spend a rage point to perform a feat of near superhuman strength. So I just want to come in and swing the flat of my axe against him like it's a baseball bat and try to knock him like superhero movie style, like throw him halfway across the open market or whatever. I'm just going to spin with my giant long axe out, flat side out, and just try to smack him out of the combat. So he has to go figure his life out.
Okay, then I will start directing I'll save, I'll go to him. That's just a 7, but I still get the same amount. So it's going to be 11 healing on him.
So he's back up. He's good. He's at full health. And then that is going to be the turn of the 2 guys running at you. Well, one of them got knocked over, so there's only one guy left. And I think actually he's going to turn and try and swing at you, Albus.
I'm glad. As he turns to swing at him, Albus has this crazed look in his eyes and smiles.
Give me a defy danger.
I'm going to defy danger with my constitution, and he just flexes into the attack. I got it.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, so he goes to try and stab you and just flicks right off your abs made of steel.
He's there. After he dinks off, I lean in towards him and say, mistake.
You can see he has no emotion on his face, although he's definitely scared on the inside.
Song says over to him, train your mind. Stay calm in every situation.
I kick the dagger that was on the floor. I kick it far away. As I've been choking this guy out for, I've noticed everyone else moving and who's taking action. So I'm running. I don't know who Albus is, but I'm running towards him, try to help him out.
As you're running over, you do see from the royal table, there's one guy who was prone, who's starting to get up, but seems very stuck. And then there's another guy next to the table who seems like he took a lot of damage and is also starting to get up.
Well, I'm gonna try to help. I'm gonna try to just get rid of all these people that had these red things. Kill the threat real quick. So I'll make sure I get this guy and not hit Albus.
You fire the arrow in air, it starts to splinter, and like a little toothpick goes into his neck.
Balin ran over here, so I'm just going to stand in defense and using my acrobatic speed to intercept enemy attacks. And I rolled a 14 because I have like a book, and in my studies at the monastery when defending, I get to roll wisdom instead of constitution. I'm going to spend one of those hold, intercept that attack.
You in like a Matrix moment see this all happening all at once. You see Balin move over, take the shot, scrape the guy's arm. You see Albus flexing his muscles, just taking everything in. You see Ra just ripping away at the fiddle, and Sky now just have cutting someone in half and now spook the shit out of somebody. Hone yourself and catch the dagger that was flying towards.
I'm going to spend another hold and throw the dagger back at him and deal damage equal to my level.
You're hitting him in the head. He drops dead on top of the table.
I recognize Balin. We were hanging out in the magical forest one time, eating some mushrooms, trying to find a deeper
Chill in the
understanding
magic
of life.
realm.
And I pull out my dirty, dusty loaf of bread that was on the ground, and I feed it to Fenrir. And hi, Dougie.
You give the bread to
It,
Fenrir.
it yips in excitement. Sits right next to you, chilling. Like, what's up, dude?
Sky, it's your turn. You have a guy over to your left who is prone on the ground from being flung by Albus's axe. There is the other character who at this point has been fleeing for so long, he is out of sight. He's down one of the alleyways. And then you have the other character who is still by the royal table, who is still very badly injured. Middle of the center of town, he's right there with Albus.
I go and execute the person who's laying prone. I'm the Reaper. I walk over to him slowly with my scythe sitting right on my shoulder, and I spin it down. I do a few spins and bring it down right on his head. 10.
You give it a little spin and drive it straight down. Roll your damage.
3.
Drive your scythe into him for 3 damage.
I just leaned into this guy and told him he made a mistake, and then
Mhm.
I'm going to try to cleave as much of his body with my giant axe as I can. I need to recap how many hold I use. I stunned a guy, I
Yes.
tossed a guy, I
Yes.
have one more hold.
So go ahead and roll that damage.
7 damage.
He stabs you for 2 damage, but it just dinks off you. If anything, he's hitting the axe, not even hitting you.
It is pretty
So
long.
Is there anyone close to me?
yes, there is the character who's now right off the stage in front of you with Albus. You could jump down and be in range of.
So position myself that I'm playing still on the stage with my fucking fiddle. I have a short sword. Can I just be able to just do a little stab from the stage and then keep playing?
Maybe your bow and the short sword are the same item.
Go ahead and roll.
I got 11 and my damage is 4.
You-
So I'm playing,
boom.
bam, little stab.
This character is sprawling up with Albus, trying to get him, and his axe is in the way. And all of a sudden, he feels a stab. He's fucked up by the music. He doesn't know what's going on anymore, and he seems very concerned and hurt. And he is going to go ahead and try stab at you, Albus. So go ahead and give me a defy danger roll.
Try me. And I rolled a natural 12 before my 3 in
Oh.
con.
So he
Yeah,
tries to
like-
hit you,
Yeah,
it bounces
yeah,
off, he slips and just falls
he's
on
getting
his knife.
frustrated and he's getting flustered. He slips and falls on his own knife due to the drinks being spilled from everyone running away.
Pitiful.
And then during this turn, the guy that Sky just struck is going to get up. And then the guy with the hole in his back is going to start
Got a hole in
charging
that.
at Balin and Fenrir.
I'm going to stand in front of him, and I will take that defy.
Stand in
danger.
defense. Okay. Yep.
It's a small
Go ahead, Sal,
town.
give me a defy danger.
They were all drunk at the party.
And I am also going to con it up. I rolled a 9.
So you're going to take half damage. 4 half to 2.
I see that guy coming, and Fenrir's distracted by the bread I gave him, and Balin's not really paying attention, and I just stand in front of him. I take it in the gut, but I flex my abs really hard. I've been hanging around with Albus and have seen the discipline it takes to just use your muscle as natural armor.
So I will just have myself shooting at the guy that just attacked Song over here with my bow. 10. And Fenrir is going over to attack this guy as well. So that's going to be 4 total.
So you
Yes.
see as the arrow flies and Fenrir, having just eaten a little bit and kind of starting to relax, looks over and sees the arrow, knows what to do, and he keeps speed with it. And at the same time, the arrow meets his head and Fenrir grabs him right by the waist and groin, and he is done. You see as Fenrir starts ripping away at his junk and walks over with a little treat for you.
Song puts his hand on Balin's shoulder and says, "Everything comes to you at the right moment. It is the way of the universe."
I just look over. Whatever, bro.
Where's the king at?
The king is currently hiding under the table.
I'll just re-up my defense.
Re-up your defense. Awesome.
Well, so I get 3
Huh.
more.
This guy's going to get up and take a swing at you. Go ahead and give me a defy danger.
8.
You're going to take 2 points of damage. These guys are fucking awful, man. Can't swing for shit.
Now it's my turn, right? All right, cool. Then it's time to end him. I just swing my scythe on his ass. I go for his feet this time and try to just bring him back down to the floor.
Go ahead and give me a roll.
9 + 3, so 12.
Yeah, you cut this guy's legs off. He's now just nubby. We've broken combat.
I'm gonna start going around and performing last rites on people. I'm gonna do it on everybody, just because I'm a good Grim Reaper compared to a lazy one.
When you conduct that, that's how you gain soul points.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be maxed out on 4 now.
So in between you doing that to one of the guys and going to the next one, Albus comes over to you and says, "That's an odd weapon for a cleric. Where did you get that?"
Like, oh, if only I were a cleric.
He looks at you puzzled. He saw you heal someone. He sees you doing last rites, but he
Yeah.
also saw you swing that thing like you did. Where are you from, Dragonborn?
I've long lost my past and my heritage. All there is now.
You sound like Song. You'd probably get along well with him.
I always shadow Albus. He's just so large that you just don't see me, just like skinny and frail behind him, and you just hear rain falls because the clouds can no longer handle the weight.
As you guys are starting to settle from this crazy encounter, you see some of the guards starting to come back in from retreating people into small businesses and homes that were near the town. And you look and see the king groveling out from underneath the table. And he runs over to one of the guards and goes, "Quickly, get me inside. No one can see me like this."
Bring it back
Cool.
to
On
life.
the last body that I start to perform last rites on, I summon Speak with Dead on it. Corpse
Cool.
converses with you briefly. It will answer any of your questions you pose to it to the best of its knowledge. So I try to bring one of these guys back to answer a few questions because I want to know exactly who. My first question is, well, so I attempt to do it. Do I need to roll for this to try to bring this person back? I have 9. I'm gonna spend 1 soul, and then the spell has other effects as well. Like,
You've done this 100 times. You've gotten used to it. You've gotten comfortable at this point. So you do it kind of loosely this time. And you feel the connection happen you hear a voice go, "Why?"
so my first question is, who sent you? Who are you here to attack today?
To take those who have rights of land and people, the one you call king.
Who sent you?
The shadow. And you actually have some knowledge, Sky. A humanoid creature that had gained such a dark arcane level of magic. You don't know much more about it other than that it is a real thing that existed, but you don't know how strong it may be. The only other thing you know about it is that this being is known for taking people and them never being seen again.
That's my last question.
You guys see the king being escorted in. You all kind of gather around the tree, and you see as Bonsai, the king's advisor, steps out and looks at you 5, and with a low, drawn-out speak, he caresses his really chunky bark beard, and now you 5 are something I have not come across in some time. All heroes of some sort. You might be able to be up for the task.
Who are you?
And you see he takes a very deep bow, and as he takes his staff across the bow, flowers grow between the cracks of the cobblestone. He goes, "I am Bonsai, druid of old." He goes, "And you 5, what are your names?"
I flex and I say, "I'm Albus, head splitter."
Sir
Blackwood.
Headsplitter, Mr. Blackwood. And you with the fiddle. You were playing quite well. We liked your tune. Had it not been for you, I would have not known what was about to happen.
Well, I do my part. My name's Ra. Remember it, because I'm about to take over this whole place with my fiddling skills. You'll see my name everywhere.
You see he chuckles and looks over to Song. I think I've seen you around. Gave you a tomato the other day in that little wooden bowl you keep.
The flower that blooms in adversity is the most rare and beautiful of all.
You see he puts his hands together and head nods, and then he looks to the back of you and sees Sky and goes,
You may call me Sky. That's my only name.
You see he hands you all a key. This is to the Gateman's Keep. He recently passed, and assuming you lot are going to need somewhere to stay. Here you go. Please, meet us at the courtship on the morrow. We will discuss these, issues we've been having. I think you can help us with.
I look over at Albus with a side eye and I say, nothing in this world is truly free.
He shrugs and says, I have traded my strength for a night's stay many times before. We should take this hospitality.
Song Sun sits down in the dirt outside the door and starts meditating angrily. He's taking a vow of poverty. It's too luxurious for him.
And as Song is sitting there thinking that, you all get into this one room lodge just for soldiers and whatnot.
From inside, I yell towards Song, it's not that nice in here.
Bonsai dismisses himself. You guys will have a meeting with the king in the morning to discuss why he believes that these assailants have come. So everyone is rested up and you guys wake up in the morning. Sung Sung is still outside meditating. Someone had taken the flowers while he had fallen asleep meditating and decorated his dreads with little flowers while he was asleep.
But they also left a ration in my bowl. I love this move. It's the most nothing move, but I get a free ration whenever I'm in a steading. So
you guys all gather, walk out, and you have to go through the central area to get to the palace from where you were staying. And you pass through and see residue left from where some of the bodies were of that red dust being left there. And as you pass through,
I stick my hand out and grab some dust and I lick it.
That's that was part of a person.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
I mean, I think maybe that's magic stuff and not exactly our forte. Am I gonna need to call the cleric? And I look at towards Sky.
I look at him and scoff.
Can I spout lore or discern realities on whatever I learned by eating this stuff? I got an 8.
all you understand from tasting this and all the different flavors you've tasted through your time pedaling through the streets, you know that this is a taste similar to a smell you're very familiar with, which is death. And you know whatever those creatures were you guys fought last night were no longer alive. They might have been humans with souls before. They were no longer humans with souls whenever you killed them. Moving through, you stopped, fucked around with some of the things there, and you're moving into the entrance crossover into the actual palace. And it's very grandiose. There's tall lamps that light with that same dark purplish flame, and you're approaching. 2 guardsmen halt you with halberds and go, "State thy name and who they here to see."
So I rolled a 10, and I'm just gonna start singing a song, the song that I wrote the night before about all the dope shit we did. But I'm gonna leave out the part about the king shitting his pants.
You look up and hear screaming down from the watchtowers. One of the archers go, "He was there yesterday playing the fiddle. Let him in." You see as the 2 guys with halberds go, "Yeah, all right." They move their halberds away and you guys are able to enter. You see an elegant woman, dark toned skin, and a very beautiful light pink dress goes to usher you towards the king's quarters, where you guys are going to go sit with King Geralth. So Ra's the first one to enter.
And I'm still playing the whole time. Like, they open the doors and I'm finishing off the last verses as we're walking in.
The king is smiling and very happy with this entrance of music and goes, "What an entrance from the great heroes we could thank for last night. I wish I could have you here on better terms. I wish I could say I was completely ignorant to what was happening last night, but I knew one day my brother would send them for me. Now, I need you all to make me a promise. Those damned marked men, those symbols only come from one evil, and that evil was born from the same womb as me." You see as he leans in and has almost a menacing dark look in his eye, trying to defeat trauma that he once felt.
Who's your brother?
My brother, Nelthok. He was such a smart man, brought a lot of great ideas, but had such a dark heart. He lives top of the mountain. You can see through there. And you see as he points through this massive glass window that has clear section for you to view through, but the rest of it is stained and colored and has a beautiful mural for his family crest. He points out to a spire that you can see dark clouds illuminating around and different colors of thunder crackling around it. What you see before you, what is everything that place was. My father was a necromancer, and he didn't tell any of us. My brother figured out, and he started using his dark magic. That's why I've brought you here. I need you all to march on the mountain and stop him from spreading this poison he has created to turn everyone into living undead.
You've known he's been here this whole time?
He had been banished, you see. The festival, everything we do, for a long time. There was a great mage who sealed him years ago, and you see his Bonsai speaks up. I was there when he was sealed. We thought it couldn't be broken. But recently in the stones, I had been seeing something that made me think differently. You see as he grips onto his staff and the flowers at the top start to die a little bit and wilt and fall. Why we celebrate the Great War, the people who are gone. They died from one great thing that is no longer amongst this world. You see him start to panic. He is having a flashback. He's running through trauma right now. Look, I'll put it to you guys this way. There's more money that could buy more towns larger than this one in it for you. The honor, the glory, anything you want. Just stop him.
Anything you say. All right. If we defeat this guy, I want a concert, a huge concert, all devoted to me. 5 stages, all raw.
Please tell me you accept. I'll do any terms. I agree. Yes, just please tell me you'll stop him.
I think we should do like a little huddle, like right in front of him too. Sidebar, but like
Sidebar.
so super close sidebar so you can hear us.
And we all take turns like lifting our head up and like
Yeah.
looking, and then like, and then we go down,
You guys could be screaming at this point what you want to say, and he's not hearing you because he's so lost in his own trauma.
We do it. We killing a king's brother.
I guess he's known about him, but not done anything.
What do you guys think should be the opening act? Raw Palooza.
Oh, I can like do some kind of feat of strength thing. People love that.
Yeah. That'll work.
I
That'll
can-
work.
I
That'll
know
get them
that.
all.
Song just
Yeah.
starts spinning his bowl on his finger.
Yeah,
Right.
we could maybe we could do a routine.
We can't have an awesome show if we're dead. So if he can
Don't worry
make
about that.
these husks, we need to be careful.
For
Well,
sure.
we have a cleric, so that'll help with the undead.
Is he though?
Yeah, we got Death
Yeah.
with us. Death.
I believe Lady Death has sent me here for a reason. We must accept. I implore you.
You see that the king, all of a sudden, the redness, he's just washed with like graciousness. And you see he trips falling down the couple of steps off of his throne and kneels before you guys and is bowing and thanking you. Take as many guards as you need, whatever you need, weapons. It's yours. You guys have the key to the barracks. There's a secret way out. It takes less time. It's at the foot of the mountain. Godspeed. You see as he retreats to his room. What would everyone like to do?
We are traveling to the mountain. What did he say about the shortcut? I didn't quite understand.
He said through the
Which
barracks that
tunnel?
you guys were staying at, there's a tunnel out to the foot of the mountain. So you guys could either choose to travel above land, and there are multiple horses that you guys could take the guards own and do that above land, or you could go underneath and take
How
the secret
far
passage.
travel is it?
To the mountain, gonna be 2 days travel. Underneath the cellar, you guys could make it there just under a day.
Oh, it's faster underground. Well, let's do that.
I'm afraid of the dark.
Maneuvering down the tunnel.
I have as an elf as my race. I get when you undertake a perilous journey through wilderness, whatever job you take, you succeed as a 10 plus. So I automatically succeed as a 10, sir.
So you guys are following Balin as if he had dug this tunnel himself,
There it is.
nonchalantly running around. You guys
I've got
are-
Fenrir to help me. He's like searching with me. We're a tag team here.
Yeah, you guys are very much in your spot. Fenrir is sniffing on the ground, following the right trail. He's biting at your ankle every time you turn the wrong way and keeping you on track. You guys are making it through and come out the other side. When you left, it was close to noon, so it is dark outside. And you guys can see little bits of light from where the town was, and then the small little villages sprinkling their way up. And as you look around, you see all those lights, and you can see two paths ahead of you guys. One is going to be more tough to scale. It's more straight up and a lot of jumps and climbing. The other one is a straight walking path, more perilous journey.
That's a 10 plus, sir. So done.
Who here is not have good strength?
I got 0 on strength. I'm like no strength.
I have 1 strength. I'm better at dex, but I am an acrobat. So you're going to watch Song just look up at this obstacle. He's always ready for a challenge and discipline. And he just runs straight up the wall. And he's not even using his hands. He's just all feet. He's like,
Just
After we see him Naruto run up, I look at Ra and say, "We're taking this way. I'll help you."
I got a 13, and part of my acrobat ability is an ally can follow without difficulty.
So you guys all start climbing up and scaling the side of the wall. And as you do, you feel, as you're getting higher, the wind rippling past you. And as you guys are starting to ascend even higher,
How's the weather?
it's not raining, but it is very cloudy, thundery, and ominous. There's a thick fog. So you guys are climbing. You make it to a flat plateau, and before you there is another little lift. And on top of that, you guys can now see this gigantic Eiffel Tower type structure, but it is twisted and bent and almost unnaturally, almost as if that metal and rock and structure itself, what it was made of, the material, could not have ever been made that way. And you all get the unnerving sense of death, and all of your hair stands up on the back of your neck.
I feel a weird tingling in my gut from ingesting the dust.
You think as you're getting up, you hear faintly the flap of wings, like heavy wings, like almost as if someone was taking a canvas canopy, flowing it through the wind. You guys are coming up to a top of a plateau right below a small incline towards the building at the spire. Now,
I will stand in defense of the top of the mountain ledge.
defense of the
Or
ledge.
12.
12. That ledge is nice and sturdy, perfectly protected. Now, as all of you make it to the top, you're starting to sense that there's something watching you guys. The tower that you see before you, Sky, you remember from having talked to one of the dead, you remember something very interesting about the shadow. And you remember reading a book about a twisted spire that was built upon the 4 deaths of 4 different elemental mages. And that's all you can remember about it.
I've read about this. I've seen this before. The spire. It's all coming back to me. There's 4 mages. That's the bulk of what I remember, but I share my information.
You can hear just the piercing sound of a hard material piercing the wind, almost creating a whistle. You look up, wings of a dragon and the body of a multi-armed salamander, like centipede. And you see it as its bones are protruding from its spine, the actual vertebra is sticking out, the scales from the wings are stretching out onto some of those structures, keeping the bones in place. And you can see as it is segmented, almost like a wooden snake toy, and it starts to swoop down on you guys. And at the last second, Song, you see what you think is a slight red light hyper glinting from the top window of the spire, which roughly is about 100 feet up. And it is going to come down and swoop at all you guys. I'm going to need Defy Danger rolls from everyone.
Backflip. Messed up. I failed. I rolled a 3.
I'm
Perfect.
going to dex and backflip out the way, and then I'm gonna blast all 3 of my defense hold and do 18 damage. When you're standing in defense, you can spend hold per defy danger that is happening.
Cool with it?
Okay. And then I rolled double 6s
Oh fuck yes.
to defy danger. I'm back handspringing and just firing arrows.
Yeah.
So if I was level 10, I could do 30 damage. Just
Yeah,
because.
that's.
Okay.
I got a 10, and you see Albus looks at Sung and says, "Show off," as he flexes, prepares to take it, but not looking at it.
I literally just hid behind you. I saw you flexing. I was like, okay, I'll just hide behind this guy.
Everyone stood behind Albus as Balin
Just
gets
fucking wrecked.
one of the claws come down and rip him from his
Wait, all
stance
the
on the earth.
centipede arms are fucking claws? This thing gets weirder and weirder, man.
It knocks him and you take 14 damage, and then it swoops back into the sky, into the clouds, and it is swooping back towards the spire.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Cool.
immediately start singing a song, try to heal my boy. I got an 11, and I got an 11 on healing. So you didn't get all of it taken away, but
Oh wait, I can use my pet's armor, and that's another armor, so that's
One
one damage.
wait. So I can also give you extra damage on your next attack. So you'll get 2 d4s.
Well, that's
So he
great
has-
because I rolled a 10. So I roll a d8 and then 2 d4s.
That's what I'm talking about.
8 damage.
You shoot the arrow out and it finds a fixed point right between the shoulder and one of the wings.
Just gonna set Unholy Blight in the area. A swarm of vicious insects from beyond the black gates of death fill the immediate area. Whenever a creature in the area takes damage, it takes an additional 1d4, which ignores armor.
Then I get an extra 1d4 in my attack. 'Cause
Yeah.
I rolled a 10. So I get a d10 and a d4 and an additional d4. 16.
You swing into this thing and lop a whole leg off. Like one of the legs just
Nice.
completely fall off. And it shrieks out in pain. As it's swooping back, it's going to make a loop and come back around the spire. And it's going to try and use its breath weapon on you guys now.
I'm gonna use wisdom on this one. It's like knowing that it was coming in, did its thing. I know it's gonna do that again, so I'm using wisdom
Same.
on that one. Oh,
I got
hell
a
yeah.
13.
11 on that one.
I'm gonna run to the top of the tower.
Okay.
A 10.
You're good.
I got a 14. As it's like roaring its fire, whatever elemental attack it is, I am just screaming back at it.
I got a 7 on Constitution. Just
6 points of piercing damage and then 2 points of fire damage. This massive multi-legged serpent-like dragon comes back down and shoots a breath of multicolored fire down on you guys, and you all, in your own ways, brace yourself. Song, you've made a multi-stack leap, just bounding like a bunny rabbit up the twistedness of the spire, and you are now towards the top of this massive housing.
As I get to the top, I fall off top and do a backflip, falling away from the tower, and I want to land on top of the dragon. Yeehaw!
Give me a roll for it, man.
10.
You find purchase right at the wing.
And I'm just punching it.
Cool.
Give it a kidney shot. 10. I'll do piercing and damage with my fists. 12 damage total, 2 piercing.
You can feel this winged creature is now no longer fully able to support you due to the amount of damage it has taken. It is starting to lose itself, and it's going to dives headfirst into the dirt with Song on its back at the foot of the actual twisted spire. And
above us.
it's a little bit further away from all you guys. Song is right on top of it. It's bloody.
I'm going to go into a rage as I charge over. I'm like working myself up. Do the raging, and then you do what
Yeah.
you're doing.
I'm gonna start singing a song to pump up, go crazy, enrage, go crazy, enrage, and just try to fucking pump them up to go fucking kill this thing. We got an 8, but you got a plus 2
Yeah,
d4s.
What do I get?
But on an 8, I thought he gets a single. Does he not?
No,
No,
it's
no,
all-
he gets negatives.
I get a negative,
Okay.
which is that it could affect someone else or something bad happens to me.
Okay.
I get
Yeah.
2d4. Is that what it is?
So yeah,
Yeah.
you have unwanted attention drawn your way.
So I gotta move, right, Scott? You said I gotta move with the unwanted attention.
Here's the song, and he starts to get psyched up, and he remembers a time that song gave him some words of wisdom and helped unlock some greater control.
As I get off of the dragon and I start dusting myself off, I say, no matter how the wind howls, the mountain cannot bow to it.
So I shift my mind, and I'm like, I am the mountain. So he like takes more like a tempered rage, and then I'm going to attack the dragon. That's a 11 to hit. So I get my D10, my D4, the 2d4 from the bard, the D4 from the death cleric. It's an 11.
And you cleave the wing off, and it's ground bound.
I start sprinting over to the now grounded dragon and bring out my scythe. Got a 10, 9. Damn.
You spike your scythe down into it, and all at once you can feel the soul go right into you. You guys get the feeling that this is not a creature that naturally exists. It was something that was created from parts of
No
other creatures.
shit.
You have now destroyed this creature. Some of the fog has started to subside and the clouds have started to retreat slightly, and the lightning becoming more visible now as the clouds have started to part slightly. And with every flash of light, you are getting illuminated, this form starting to slowly morph into what you had just killed, from human to this giant coiled multi-legged creature, and it flies straight out the top right into the lightning and disappears. And as you watch it become nothing but a speck in the sky, all of the clouds subside and nothing is left but a giant licorice looking twisted spire of black metal and red jewels.
The fuck was that? One of you magic people, tell me what the fuck that was?
I'm gonna use my wisdom to discern what the fuck that was. 13.
Sky, you remember you were sitting there at the festival reading a book before everyone really got there. And you remember what you were reading in the book was about how there recently have been archmages learn transfiguration on themselves to such a point where they've become part of what they transmutate into. And they've modified essentially this spell to turn themselves into immortal beings by being able to transfer their soul and have alternate bodies. And you believe the Shadow was the only one to ever completely do this and live through it.
It was the Shadow, I say. That's what we need to kill.
I thought we just killed what we needed to kill.
This was nothing. This was just a weird, gross monster. Didn't even last 20 seconds.
You realize as you're standing upon this creature, in the segments starts to detach, and you see the bodies of those weird undead creatures that you killed beforehand slowly being dissolved from the outer skin. Then those bodies dissolve into the red powder, and it is now just a red powder outline of what that creature was.
Just as a snake sheds its skin, let's shed our past over and over again.
I've seen too much weird shit today for your wisdom.